this pandemic a while back, and really it was just to bring hope for a little while. But we want to use this as a tool for teaching and other things too. And hopefully that through teaching and learning and growing in Christ, maybe will give us a little hope too. I would like to talk to you today about something that folks, two terms that folks may be familiar with. The one term, and the other term not so much, but actually they're very pertinent for our lives today. The first term is orthodoxy. We hear a lot about orthodoxy. Well, orthodoxy is basically, and it means this, right belief. There's a lot about right belief. You know, what do you believe? Christians are really worried about belief. We have creeds. We have other things. There are some folks, if you don't believe this, if you don't believe that, I really lean on the creeds. That is, you know, we confess our faith with the creeds through the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed, and also the Athanasian Creed. We as Lutherans use those three creeds. That is, you know, speaking our faith. We are to confess our faith, and that's what it truly means to confess your faith to others, telling them what you, and telling yourself what you believe. So right belief is very, very, very important in the Christian life and for Christians, and this is why we need to study. This is why we also need to do devotions, come to the house of God once we're able, and you know, worship, do all the things, hear good preaching, have good teaching, all these things. It's why we need to make sure we've got a lot of good seminarians coming and good seminaries to send them to. It just goes all hand in hand. So orthodoxy is right belief. There's another term that maybe you've never really truly heard, and it's called orthopraxis. Orthopraxis. This is right practice. For our Jewish friends, our forerunners, orthopraxis is what's more important than right belief. You know, I'm just going to let you know this. A lot of folks think we don't need the Jews any longer. I'm sorry. No, they don't need us. We need them. They are our forerunners. Jesus was a Jew. He came out of the nation of Israel to us. And in their culture, in their religious practice, the practice, how you do it, is more important than what you believe. It's wonderful what you believe, but it's more important. I'll give you a great example of this. How many of you have been and seen the kashrut laws? Understand the kashrut? You know, kosher. I love kosher pickles. Love a kosher dill pickle. Really love those things. And actually, there's a lot to this. It's how they're made. It's how they're grown. With your kosher meats, there are certain ways that these animals are to be raised and to be slaughtered, and everything has to be done in a certain way. It's about practice for their faith. But we also need to understand that us as Christians, we need to be concerned about orthopraxis just as much as we are about orthodoxy. Yes, it's wonderful that we believe certain things, but if you don't put your faith into practice, it's a worthless faith. You've done nothing. You're nowhere. You have done nothing and you have achieved nothing. That's why we're to put it into praxis. And I pray today that we would understand that God expects things of us. We are free from sin now. Not totally. We sin, but we are free of that, of the killing part of sin, if you will, of the destructive forces of sin through Jesus Christ. And we don't have to worry about our salvation now. So now we're free what? Instead of worrying about that every moment, we are now free to practice what God has placed us here to do, to be His disciples, to follow Him. So I pray today that you will understand the difference between orthodoxy and orthopraxis, and that you'll put it into